Donald Trump's words and the words of people in his regime are back to haunt him and tear down and destroy his entire MAGA movement as he's now gone into this war with Iran, this potentially never-ending disastrous war. But Donald Trump's words from the past, the words of J.D. Vance from the past, the words of Tulsi Gabbard from the past, and others in this despicable regime, these despicable hypocrites, these words are coming back to haunt them. And I want to show you specifically what they were saying in the past and how it contradicts everything that they are saying right now. And so the first thing I want to show you right here is, why don't we do this one? Just a montage of clips of Donald Trump campaigning about how he's not going to start a war ever. He's the candidate of peace, he claimed. Here, play this clip.
I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
No more wars, no more disruptions. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. Under Trump, we will have no more wars, no more disruptions, and we will have prosperity and peace for all. I am the candidate of peace. I am peace.
But then I could rewind even more and show you this clip from November 16th of 2011. Let's play it.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Or how about I show you this clip from April 3rd, 2012. Play this clip.
So you have oil, you have interest, and you have the potential of wars. I mean, you know, we're looking at Iran. I happen to think that the president is going to start a war with Iran. I think it'll be a short-term popular thing to do, and I think he's going to do that for political reasons, you want to know the truth. I don't know if anybody says it as openly, but I think he's going to start a war with Iran, and that'll be short-term popular. If you remember Bush was unbeatable for about 2 months, and then all of a sudden the world set in when he attacked Iraq. And he went from very popular to not popular at all. But I think that Obama will start in some form a war with Iran, and I think that'll make him very popular for a short period of time. So that'll make him hard to beat also.
Or what about I show you all of Donald Trump's social media posts? Just a handful here, but I could probably show you dozens more from 2011, 2012, 2013, and onward, where Donald Trump says the following. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. Another post. I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. Another post, Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get reelected. Another post, in order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. Another post, now that Obama's poll numbers are in a tailspin, watch for him to launch a strike in Libya or Iran. He is desperate. Another post, remember what I previously said? Obama will someday attack Iran in order to show how tough he is. By the way, I could show you dozens more posts like this from Donald Trump, dozens more clips, but let's move on, shall we? How about J.D. Vance? We'll start more recent. How about June 22nd, 2025, when the Trump regime told everybody that the attacks on Iran then obliterated all of the uranium enrichment and that Iran can never get a nuclear weapon again. Mission accomplished, total obliteration. Remember they said this? J.D. Vance said, our view is that we don't want regime change. That's not what we want. We're obliterating it. We don't want regime change. Here's what he said on June 22nd, 2025. Let's play this clip.
Our view has been very clear that we don't want a regime change. We do not want to protract this or build this out any more than it's already been built out. We want to end their nuclear program, and then we want to talk to the Iranians about a long-term settlement here. We believe very strongly that there are two pathways. There's a pathway where Iran continues to fund terrorism, continues to try to build a nuclear program, attacks American troops. That's the bad pathway for Iran, and it will be met with overwhelming force. There's another pathway on the table here. There's a pathway where Iran integrates itself into the international community, stops funding terrorism, and stops trying to pursue a nuclear weapon. This is a reset. This is an opportunity for the Iranians to take the smart path. We certainly hope that they will.
But let's rewind a little bit more. In order to get elected, what were some of the lies that J.D. Vance, what were some of the lies that he was telling? October 27th, 2024, he goes, our interests are not going to war with Iran. Let's play this clip.
Yeah. But America's interest is sometimes going to be distinct. Like sometimes we're going to have overlapping interests and sometimes we're going to have distinct interests. And our interest, I think, very much is in not going to war with Iran, right? It would be a huge distraction of resources. It would be massively expensive to our country.
How about Pete Hegseth, December 6, 2025? Fairly recent. He said the War Department will not be distracted by feckless nation building and regime change. Play this clip.
The War Department will not be distracted by democracy building, interventionism, undefined wars, regime change, climate change, woke moralizing, and feckless nation building.
All right, well, what about Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence? Her platform was like literally no war in Iran. She made videos when she was running for the presidency. No war in Iran. That was like her main issue is that any full-fledged war in Iran would be absolutely devastating. It would destroy the United States. But look, all these MAGA people, they're frauds, they're con artists. It's like what RFK Jr., he's like, I care about stopping all these pesticides in our food supply. Then Donald Trump's like, but what we're going to do is we're going to not just put the pesticide in our food supply, we're going to promote pesticides more than anyone has promoted pesticides before. What do you think about that, RFK Jr.? Oh, Donald, that's Maha. Pesticides, let me snort it like I snorted cocaine when I was young. Let off the toilet bowls. Let me snort that pesticide. That's what RFK Jr. is. That's not what I'm saying. That's what RFK Jr. is saying. Okay, back. Sorry on that. Sorry about that. Tulsi Gabbard. Back on May 17th, 2019, she says a war with Iran would make the war in Iraq look like a cakewalk. Here's what she said in 2019. Let's play it.
The high human cost of war. You know, these wars across the Middle East and Iraq, thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform lost their lives, many more injured. And I also know the cost on the American people. You know, the trillions of dollars that we've spent since 9/11 alone on waging these wasteful regime change wars, how those wars have undermined our national security and how they have strengthened terrorist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. So when we talk about a potential war with Iran, which is looking like we are walking very dangerously down that path, what I think is important for the American people to know is that a war with Iran would make the war in Iraq look like a cakewalk. The devastation and the cost would be far greater than anything we've ever experienced before.
How about what she said in 2020 on Fox? This was like her main issue. This is why she's such a fraud. All of these people are frauds and phonies, and they claim they care about these things so they can get into power, and then they do literally the exact thing they claim that they're against. Here, play this clip.
We've got to be clear-eyed about the situation that we are in, that inching closer, actually more than inching, speeding towards an all-out war with Iran would make the wars that we've seen in Iraq and in Afghanistan look like a picnic. It will be far more costly in lives, American lives, and American taxpayer dollars, and all towards accomplishing what goal, what objective? I think that's really at the crux of this decision that President Trump made.
All right, now, just to show you how outrageous this is, this was Tulsi Gabbard's 2019 fundraising video. And the title of her video, it's actually a good video. Like it is a boom, 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 boom. Like as someone who is the founder and who runs a news network, this is actually a pretty good video just in terms of the pacing and the clips. But here she is right here. And the video is called Trump's Path to War with Iran. And it starts off by her saying, we've got to stop Donald Trump from starting a war with Iran. She's Donald Trump's director of national intelligence. Watch this video. Play this clip.
Here are the steps that Donald Trump has taken to create a war with Iran. First, he tore up the Iran nuclear agreement.
I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Second, he has escalated crippling sanctions against Iran.
The sanctions kicking in at midnight Sunday target Iran's oil exports, banking, and shipping, even though UN inspectors say Iran is still complying with the nuclear deal.
The United States will pursue additional sanctions, tougher than ever before.
Third, he designated Iran's military as a terrorist organization.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has announced that the U.S. is designating the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terror group.
Today, the United States is continuing to build its maximum pressure campaign against the Iranian regime. I'm announcing our intent to designate the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, including its Quds Force, as a foreign terrorist organization.
With this terror designation, the U.S. can sanction pretty much anybody who talks to or deals with or has any business whatsoever with the IRGC.
And fourth, he continues to deploy more and more U.S. troops to the region.
Just moments ago, the Pentagon authorized an additional 1,000 American troops to the Middle East in response to growing concerns over Iran.
The Trump administration announced yesterday that a U.S. aircraft carrier and a bomber task force are being sent to areas closer to Iran.
Yes, there will indeed be hell to pay. Let my message today be very clear. We are watching, and we will come after you.
We've got to stop Donald Trump from starting a war with Iran. I'm asking you to join me and support my legislation, the No More Presidential Wars Act. To qualify for the third presidential debate and make sure that our voices will be heard, I need at least 130,000 people to contribute to our campaign. So I'm humbly asking you for your support. Please ask your family and your friends if they can send even just $1. You can click on the link or donate at Tulsi2020.com.
And by the way, it's not just that video. She then made another video in 2020, and the title of the video was called "The U.S. Must Not Go to War with Iran." This was her main campaign video. U.S. never Iran. The U.S. must never go to war with Iran. Now she's behind the war with Iran. She's one of the main people supporting the war with Iran. What? And the video starts off, "Join me in sending a strong message to Donald Trump. The U.S. must never go to war with Iran." Here, play this clip.
President Trump promised us during his campaign to get the United States out of stupid wars.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake.
We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. We will stop racing to topple foreign regimes that we know nothing about.
But he's on the brink of launching a very stupid and costly war with Iran. We have to stop President Trump from starting a war with Iran. The president is listening to his national security advisor, John Bolton, and other war hawks in his administration who have championed the war with Iraq in the past and who've been pushing for war with Iran for years.
Our goal should be regime change in Iran.
There is a viable opposition to the rule of the Ayatollahs. The only solution is to change the regime itself.
Bolton and others lied to us about the war in Iraq. They said that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and that he was going to give them to al-Qaeda. Now, that war was devastating. Over 4,000 of my brothers and sisters in uniform were killed. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians killed. Trillions of our taxpayer dollars wasted. And al-Qaeda and ISIS were strengthened. But to this day, John Bolton says that that disastrous war in Iraq was the right decision.
I don't think there's any question that the decision to overthrow Saddam Hussein was the correct decision.
So now we're being lied to again, as Bolton and Trump push us closer and closer to a war with Iran that would prove far more costly and devastating than anything we experienced in Iraq. It would result in far more American troops being killed and injured, cause great suffering for the Iranian people and others in the region. It would exacerbate the refugee crisis in Europe and risk direct U.S. conflict with Russia, conflict that could easily lead to nuclear war. So join me in sending a strong message to Donald Trump. The U.S. must not go to war with Iran.
By the way, this is the MeidasTouch Network. We've got receipts everywhere. And hat tip, by the way, to Home of the Brave. They do a great job aggregating as well. So here's what Donald Trump said in 2012 on Iran. Play this clip.
And at some point, there's no question, as sure as you're sitting here, unless something else happens first, like somebody wanting to get elected, and the only way he's going to do it is to start a war with Iran. Because I tell you what, if Iran isn't negotiating now, they got to be crazy. Because they are sitting, and I said this the other day, they are sitting on hot timber. They are really crazy if they're not negotiating. And by the way, they do, in my opinion, want to negotiate. But we may have somebody that wants to have war because he doesn't want to accept a negotiation, which could turn out to be much stronger than war, and you could make a much better deal than war, but it may be good politics. So I actually blogged the other day. I love this Twittering and tweeting. I love it because, you know, I'm bigger than the New York Times. I got millions of people. It's like I own the New York Times. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's called the new age. You know, I always wanted to own a newspaper. Now I own a newspaper and it didn't cost me anything. It's unbelievable. So I did say, though, that I predict there's a very good chance that we'll end up in a war with Iran, because I think it's politically possibly a positive for Obama, even though it's not a good thing for our country.
Here's what Donald Trump said in 2011 on Iran. Here, play this clip.
I can tell you that right now. But, you know, you can use that military. They are in big trouble. You know, Saddam Hussein totally outplayed his hand. He overplayed his hand. Gaddafi overplayed his hand. They see that in Iran, and you know what? It's going to happen to them unless they come to the table. And if you had the right leader, you would have them at the table right now without having to waste lives and billions of dollars.
All right. So assume that we did have them at the table. What in the world do you think it is that we could offer them to persuade them, to convince them, to scare them, or whatever it is for Iran to step down on a nuclear weapon development?
Survival. It's survival. That's what we offer them. It's pure and simple. A horrible thing to say, it's survival. They won't survive. I mean, they are in deep trouble if they carry it. And, you know, I've said before, I think Obama will go to war with Iran because I think he views it as good politically. And that's pretty sad. And it's a pretty sad thing to have to say. But I think he will absolutely go to war with Iran. I think he views that as a positive from a political standpoint. And I think he's just waiting for the right moment. And I think Iran better be damn careful because they are overplaying their hand, just like Gaddafi and just like Saddam Hussein.
Or how about this one from our friends over at the Tennessee Holler? So today they posted about a MAGA Republican state representative, Susan Lynn, posting that her son just got called up and is now deployed after Donald Trump and Netanyahu started this war with Iran. Here's what she said. Please pray for our troops, and if you'd be so kind to especially remember to pray for my son and his family. He was called up and deployed this morning. We do not know to where. So it's an important thing to note as well that we're preparing to send troops potentially on the ground in Iran. Like, let's be clear what this is about as well. But here's a flashback to 2020 when Susan posted a thank you to Donald Trump for not plunging my son and daughter-in-law into another war. Dear President Trump, this is what she said on November 7th, 2020. I want to take a minute to say thank you. Regardless of the outcome of this election, you deserve my gratitude. Thank you for not plunging my son and daughter-in-law into another war. Thank you for walking through hell and back for the American people. That's what she was saying then. You want me to show you more receipts? How about 30 years of Benjamin Netanyahu telling the people of the world that Iran was days away from a nuclear bomb? Let's play this clip right here.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
So, you know, there's some questions for these MAGA folks, right? So Laura Ingraham, who's a host on State Regime Media, which calls itself Fox, she asks Dan Bongino, who's a MAGA influencer, hey, So what's your message to a lot of the MAGA people who say that Donald Trump ran on no regime change? All the stuff that I just showed on the video. What do you say to that, Bongino? Here's what he says. Play this clip.
And Dan, your message to our some of our friends on the right who are saying, look, President Trump ran on no regime change, and now President Trump is doing regime change. You see the Democrats are picking up on that for 2026 themes. Your message to them tonight.
Well, it's incredible how the doomers, Laura, it hasn't even been 24 hours. It's happened at 3 a.m. It's not 3 a.m. Eastern time. Can you give the man a chance to cook a little bit? I mean, he just deposed and decapitated the entire upper level infrastructure of the Iranian death to America regime. Maybe give the guy 5 minutes before you're already crapping on everything he did? I mean, who else has been able to do this? If it doesn't work out over time, there'll be a bunch of papers and a bunch of talking heads, I'm sure, who will rip it apart. It's been 24 hours. Give the guy a chance. Where's he been proven wrong in the past? I thought World War III was going to break out after the Abraham Accords and after he moved the embassy and after he got Maduro. None of that happened. Give the guy a chance. He knows what he's doing. He's surrounded himself with more than competent people. Give it a chance. It's not even been 24 hours yet.
All right, Dan, thank you.
All right, not a great answer. What about you, MAGA Republican Senator Rick Scott? What's your view? What would you say to a member of the MAGA coalition who says, I didn't vote for regime change? Wasn't the whole point of this a no regime change? Wasn't that part of the campaign? What's your response, MAGA Republican Rick Scott? Let's play it.
What would you say to a member of the MAGA coalition who comes to you and says, Senator, this is not what I voted for. President Trump said he was going to end regime change wars. He was going to end military entanglements abroad. And this is the exact opposite of what he said he was going to do. What would you tell that person?
Well, what this president wants to do is he doesn't want forever wars. He's against forever wars. If you look at what he's trying to do, he's trying to make the world a safer place. What he did by destroying their nuclear weapons last year, what he's doing with this was destroying their ability to produce missiles. He's making the world a better place. What he did in Venezuela, he's making the world a better place. So if you look at this, Trump, he wants peace. But we've had presidents appease, coddle, and power ran for decades, and that's got to stop.
Oh, got it. That's why. Well, I hope you appreciate it. Boom, receipt, evidence. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks everybody for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.